right, 3.
Back in the late 60s, in Oakland, you had like the Panthers, you had the A's, you had the Raiders. And it became a movement of winning, and it motivated the sports that went on in that town. You think about the 70s, through the whole 70s, and the steel mills closing down, and the people around there, and how the Pirates and the Steelers all of a sudden created a movement around the people and the love for their teams there. And you can kind of, we're looking at someone that you could probably add to that. 3 years ago, Katrina hit the, and that stadium was a house of horrors. It was people dying in there and alleged rapes and all that. And now you have the Saints, who have turned everything around inside that same building, and it's nothing but enjoyment and pleasure for the people of that same city. And I asked the question now, are we looking at a movement like those movements, like what you had in Pittsburgh and all these other places? Are we looking at New Orleans going from being like, yeah, they had a good season, to a true movement where now they become one of those teams that are like, yeah, I remember New Orleans used to be soft. I mean, they had one in New England also, where it just changes and it becomes a movement.
9/11.
9/11 and all this, and all of a sudden the patriotic feel and the whole thing, and all of a sudden they're good. Because you remember when New England used to be the shitty team,
right.
And now they're a good team. And I know other people can remember when Pittsburgh was the shitty team, and now they're like perennial playoff teams year after year, So are we looking at a movement? Or is this just another like, hey, they had a good year in New Orleans, but that's all
well,
it was?
The sports world has always brought people together.
Yeah.
You find strange relationships through sports. Now, you spoke of Oakland as well as Pittsburgh, late 70s or mid 70s movement, and Oakland being the late 60s, early 70s. But now you had the A's along with the Raiders, and in Pittsburgh you had the Pirates along with the Steelers.
Right.
New Orleans has
the Saints.
The Saints.
That's
and
it.
The Hornets, right?
Yeah, but just the Saints. I'm speaking of the Saints. You know
right,
what I'm saying?
Right. And there is a love affair with the community and the football team.
Yeah.
By no means are we sitting up here saying that all is well in New Orleans, because it isn't.
No.
People are still catching hell, and for the people who have been displaced and lost practically all their belongings and even lost their life or family, friends, and loved ones, our hearts still go out to you, and we pray that everything goes right. But what we do notice as Chop Shop, we talk about football mostly. The Saints have something going on down there that looks like a movement.
Yeah.
Big ups to all of you down in New Orleans. I think something special is going on. What you think?
Man, you know what? I have to agree with you. I mean, displacement of people, like you said, the horrors that allegedly went on in the building. But the reality is, the horror was the lack of the government responding to the people. That was the true horror that went down there. Now, with all that being said, hey, New Orleans now, the city, Bourbon Street. I mean, I haven't been back, I'm going soon, but they bringing everything down to the center of the city, downtown and around the Bourbon Street area and right down there by the Superdome. That place is starting to be built up for the, the tourists and, bring attractions, all the disenfranchised people, that 9th Ward and all the different wards around that area, they still jacked up, you know what I'm saying? But, hey, maybe they moved some new people in. The team is doing well. They got the Hornets there. They look like they're entrenching themselves inside the city, and they'll probably be there for a while. It looks like a feel-good story right now. I think that as far as football goes, they're definitely doing their thing. Drew Brees is definitely a leader as a quarterback. With Reggie Bush, a little star power, and some of the defensive players and offensive players that they had there, Shockey and Cedric Ellis and all the different things they have going on, Sharper. They revamped the stadium. I mean, they got the new turf in, and it is now a new feel. But we still need to see if they pull it off in the playoffs.
Now, we definitely looking at a situation where the Saints at 12-0 might go undefeated, because this is what they got left. They got Atlanta, that's going to be playing with a hurt Matt Ryan, a hurt Yo Boy, Turner, Norwood. I don't know if he's playing. That's almost if they play their game a win. Dallas, depending on what you do to Dallas, they walking in New Orleans and they may be a head case. Tampa Bay is Tampa Bay and Carolina is Carolina. If they handle their business in the December 13th and the December 19th game, we could be looking at a 16-0 New Orleans. But the main thing is to truly make this a movement. These motherfuckers got to win this Super Bowl or at least get there, right?
That could be the start of it too.
To make it a true movement?
Yeah.
Now you got to remember, movements start, I mean, you know, waves start way across the ocean. You remember New England, they made it to the Super Bowl in '85.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They made it back again, was that 96?
96.
Okay, so I mean, you know, but that time they made it in '85 and they beat us in the playoffs. You know, we were supposed to be there against the Bears. You know, but hey, they made it to the playoffs, then they faded back out. But you know, through the '90s, they built themselves back up, and you know,
along with the Red Sox and along with the Celtics, Boston is its movement. They have their thing going.
I mean, Boston itself, yeah, but we're talking about New England Patriots. You know that when
That
we grew up,
Boston.
no, I'm just saying, you know, that helmet right there was doomed. You
Yeah.
know, it's almost like when
It was
people look at
Green
the
Bay
Raiders
and New
right
England.
now.
But you can't say it now.
No.
You can't say it now.
Yeah,
The movement took place.
The movement took place, and it started with you know, the shutting down of that old stadium when they played y'all again
Yeah.
and won, and all of a sudden the movement took place and they started winning. And it always seems like there's some kind of destruction, fall, tragedy that occurs that ties the people of the city
Right.
to some kind of sports franchise, and then the love pours out into that team, and all of a sudden you see the whole thing just slowly make a 180.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And we potentially are looking at this shit about to go down in New Orleans, I think.
If the Hornets can help out and win too.
The question I have is this a movement where you like the Atlanta Falcons, you know, where they made it to the Super Bowl and faded back down and changed their colors? They copied us with the black helmets and all that stuff, which helped them, and they became a much better team. Of course, they got Michael Vick and kept it going, but really, they never did, you know, live up to the hype is what they were supposed to do. Same thing with the Minnesota Vikings. You know, then there's two teams that lived up to the movement and created the movement, and that was the St. Louis Rams, coming from LA, changing the jerseys from the yellow to the gold, a little darker blue, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Once again, you notice there's a fine little thing of commonality here. The Raiders are always involved in everybody's little movement. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting tired of this shit. You know what I'm saying? You know.
What the fuck is the Raiders involved in?
Okay, well, you got to think about it. Tampa Bay, our dumbass owner trades a coach. We just so happen to make the Super Bowl, and the coach that coached us is coaching against us.
Y'all still a movement. Y'all badass losing movement.
Man.
The bowel movement.
Yeah, the power movement.
Ah,
That's
fuck.
the
Hey,
movement.
hey, I got it. Hey,
I just want to know this, though.
Movement.
I just want to know this. What movement other than the gay rights movement had they had down in San Diego? You know what I'm saying? They had no movement.
Right
You know
now,
what
we
I'm
got a 9-3 movement that's moving on.
Y'all got a movement of
And y'all
gerbils.
bottom of the barrel.
Y'all got a movement of gerbils shit.
It's gonna make a difference in this movement.
So,
Yeah.
shout outs to my man Big E.
Yeah.
And y'all out there, we ask y'all, are the New Orleans Saints, is this a movement? Are we watching the Saints go from being the Aints to like, nah, to where you gonna one day tell your children, nah, the Saints used to be sorry, and they looking at you like, really? For real? The Saints used to be sorry? Oh yeah.
Paper bags,
they-
Archie Manning.
Yeah, people used to wear paper bags on their head. And Eli Manning, Peyton Manning, their dad used to be the quarterback and have your kids looking like, wow, I can't even see them as being sorry. Is that what we about to look at? Y'all chop it up and let us know what you think.
Hit us up from the NO, you know what I'm saying, baby?
For sure. We out.
All you
Peace.
Saints fans.
Take your name off your phone.
Please.